Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Kinahan, chief market strategist at TD Ameritrade, to discuss November's reading for the Investor Movement Index. The IMX is TD Ameritrade's proprietary behavior-based index aggregating Main Street investor positions and activity to measure what investors are actually doing and how they are positioned in the markets. And JJ, I thought it was really encouraging for November to see investors take advantage of volatility.
Yeah, Jill, it was a little surprising to me, actually, that we saw that our clients were more exposed to the market by about 7% from the October reading to the November reading. It's not often the case where as we head into year end, especially as we start to see traces of volatility, that you're seeing people step up. I guess what it continues to show us, though, Jill, is the U.S. stock market still is the best game in town, so to speak, in terms of what most people perceive as for their returns. And so with that, to your point, a little bit of volatility brings some buyers out of the woodwork.
And JJ, what I think has been interesting for 2021, and we saw this again in November, it's been a really mixed bag of buys and sells. And perhaps that's due to new entrants coming into markets. We see different kinds of companies going public, and we can see this in the buys that we kind of moved away from perhaps the FANG rotation that they've been in for 2020 and 2019.
Yeah, we did see Meta as one of the top stocks, which is a traditional favorite of our clients. And we saw Disney, but we didn't see an Apple. We didn't see Microsoft. We didn't see Tesla. A little bit of a surprise, perhaps, on those in terms of buy. We are continuing to see NVIDIA. It's one our clients just continue to like. But as you said, Rivian, a new entrant into the market in November. And our clients, really like that business plan, came out to buy it, and PayPal. So, as you said, a smattering, if you will, sprinkling the infield, I guess they would say, in terms of the different stocks that our clients were attracted to in November.
And did you see that on the sell side as well?
On the sell side, there was one interesting thing to me, Jill, and that was the three top sells actually had one thread in common, and that is they were all retail related. So you had Amazon, you had Walmart, you had Shopify. So trying to look at that one, I'm, heading into the holiday season, maybe a little bit strange to see that. But I still think that a lot of clients have fears, if you will, in terms of the supply chain issue. So with that, this is one of the ways they reflected it. And also, those are stocks that perform pretty well. So I think many people wanted to take profits also.
Right. And JJ, it's interesting. We talk about the search for yield, and we know it's hard to get some of those income trades. Mm-hmm. And typically we've seen some of those the dividend names like a Bank of America, like a AT&T, and some of the other ones that have those healthy dividends. I did not see that in the buys either. So it's interesting to see just how much investors have really been going either for the meme names or the growth names and dialed back a bit on the income and dividend producing side.
Absolutely, Jill. And as we come into the cycle right now, where we're coming off a week where we saw incredible volatility, it's going to be really interesting for me to look at the December numbers to see if, as we saw this 10-year yield go below 1.5% now, we're going to see a return of those. And as you mentioned, AT&T, Verizon have tended to be favorites in the past in terms of looking for a derivative way to play yield. So we'll see if those start to come back as we head into year end.
And of course, let's get your 2022 outlook. I mean, typically it's a little bit slower going into the end of the year as trading desks get more thin, but it feels as if this chop and this active retail trading activity may be here to stay. So what are your thoughts on that? And then also, what are you going to be looking for as we get into Q1?
Well, especially, Jill, as we see a VIX trading near 30, it's hard to believe that this is just going to suddenly end. As you said, we have, especially over the next week and a half, a lot coming up. We have a big quadruple witching, and I just think that this year there's going to be more chop throughout the holidays than we normally see as people are trying to reset their portfolios for next year, where there's just so much that's unknown heading into next year. So I think, what do we look for? Again, it's got to be rates. We saw the power of Chairman Powell on display over the last week and a half when they speak about or don't speak about what they're going to do, how the market reacts overall. And of course, the virus continues to be the wild card, if you will, in the market overall. So I really think those are going to be the two things that primarily drive the market in Q1. And as you and I have had the conversation before, it's always the punch that you don't see that knocks you out. So, there's a lot of geopolitical tensions around the world right now. It's something we have to keep our eye on. And, let's not forget what's going on with some of the listings in China and Evergrande last night. was down big again. That story hasn't necessarily gone away, Jill. So there's just a lot of factors that still could be at play that you have to be careful of.
All right, JJ, next time we speak, it'll be 2022. Happy holidays to you and the
Happy
TD
holidays.
Ameritrade family. Thank you for everything. And thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.